The Chicago Bulls apparently have just released, or some sources have released, some of the choices or options that they would consider for a trade with Zach LaVine. I don't necessarily think he should be traded, but I don't run a team. So let's get into it. Right now, if you're tuning in, this is P.kidd Talks NBA. I appreciate everyone who's been subscribing. I have a lot of new subscribers. I appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. Let's get into the video. This is why you came. Listen, Chicago's my town. Chi-town till I die. But for some odd reason, there seems to be this overall fixation on trying to get rid of Zach LaVine, who I think is a heck of a player. But again, since we've been mid, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, we don't have many options from a rebuild or retool standpoint. So what can you really do to actually reset? And that's the one thing that we have to look at. AK is in a situation where he tried to go all in. Some injuries happened. Things didn't kind of gel. Now he has to make a move, and he's kind of, you know, the fan base has kind of been putting him on a hot seat, and Zach LaVine is honestly the one thing that can get him a lot of capital back. He's one of the most valuable pieces on the team, if not the most valuable piece on the team. So considering what they want from him, it kind of makes sense. Now, here's the thing. And this is a report. Bleacher Report has actually reported this. It said the Bulls are eyeing a good young player in multiple firsts or more in a trade. Listen here. I'm just going to break this down. Why don't y'all just say y'all want to trade him to Portland? Like, don't play us stupid. Just say you want to trade him in Portland before the draft. How about that? You want the number 3, you want the 23rd that the Portland has from New York, and you want Simons. Let's just be real. That's what you want. You want that and some calories, some salary fillers. We understand those other pieces there. And guess what? I'm not saying it could be a bad trade. I'm just not a big fan of trading Zach LaVine. I feel like there's some other pieces that we can get rid of that are probably just as, I'm not going to say just as valuable, but they can give us some good depth and stuff like that and like round us out. I don't think that's the way to go. But apparently, hey, AK thinks that's what it is. And that is what is being reported. Now, again, I just want to sit there and get this out on the table. You talking about Portland. It could be another team out there, but let's be real. The one team that we've been in bed with for multiple type of trade talks and considerations and all that stuff, whether it be them sending us their star player or not, has been Portland. And from what the asking price is, there's only a couple of teams who could actually fill that out without being completely gutted and still be in contention, so to speak. And that is Portland. Portland is at a situation where right now, Dame is not trying to be a part of a retool, rebuild, anything. He wants to be in contention. He's not trying to ride that out. So guess what? Portland is trying to do everything they can to get that man talent. And Zach LaVine would be one of those good talents there. He's more effective and more consistent than CJ McCollum. I think just from the time frame, he can give you what Simons gives you, but he doesn't do exactly what Zach does. But they can be two dynamic scorers in that backcourt. And if depending on what else they can get in that particular trade, it might make sense. Guess what? I'm just going to call it. This is my prediction. If this is what the asking price is, and if AK is really settling on potentially accelerating a rebuild, he's going to Portland. There's no way around it. Now, I could be completely wrong. And there are some other teams out there who could kind of do that. Jordan Poole and the Golden State Warriors kind of comes to mind. But when you sit there and you look at Zach LaVine's contract, the already cap space hell that the Golden State is already in, I rule them out immediately. You look at the Lakers, I can kind of see that. But guess what? I don't believe Lakers have the pick, and I don't know what good young player they would get back for him that they could. It's actually eligible for trade. Let's just be real. That man is going to Portland. If you are in the chat right now, you have someone else that comes to mind, please put it there. I want to consider it, because the one thing I do know is very rarely does a team that was somewhat in contention trying to fight for a spot willing to help out another team within their conference. I rarely see that happen. Guess what? In any trade that involved a superstar caliber or all-star caliber player, they sent them to the other conference. Bradley Beal didn't go to the East. KD didn't go to the East. Kyrie didn't go to the East. If Miami makes any particular moves for Dame, this, that, and the other, well, apparently it doesn't seem like they will be now. He was coming from the West to the East. Like, they don't trade within conference often. Oftentimes, you're going to the other side of the court. I don't have to worry about you unless I make it to the finals. Cool, I can live with that. That's the type of situation that most teams put themselves in, and it just makes sense. Us as fans, we already know this. So let's just be real with ourselves. It's very few teams on that other side who can give up multiple firsts and still be and give a good play. I guess you could say OKC. OKC got enough first round picks to draft everybody and their mama. I don't know. Like, listen, this report came out within an hour ago. I kind of ran home just to make this particular video. And if I seem a little more flustered than my other videos, it's because this is about my particular team. Like, I am a Chicago Bulls fan. I like Zach LaVine. I am kind of against the notion of even trading him. I'm not even going to lie. I try not to be the homer on my particular channel since I want to talk general NBA. But if I have to go with any particular team, any particular player, that's my guy. That's what and I just own that. But I want to hear what you think. Where do you think Zach LaVine may be going? Do you think that this is something that actually gets done? Mind you, this is all predicated on something getting done before the draft. And Portland is just the one team I know that paired with our one, I think we have the 18th pick. We can sit there and get the third. It just makes sense. I mean, God. Ooh, I don't like thinking about that. But I want to hear your thoughts. Where do you think he may be going? If you think it actually gets done, do you think a team bites on him? Would Zach LaVine even make another team in the Western Conference better? He's not getting traded in conference. We can just get, if he gets traded in conference, I'm sorry. That's a whole different, you dig. I don't necessarily think that that's going to jive well. But again, I want to hear your thoughts. Now, there are some other talks out there. I want to sit there and branch this off because I don't know how much of a major draw this particular person would have been, but there are some talks that the Wizards are still trying to divest some of their particular players, and Kristaps Porzingis is one of them that's come up, as well as Kyle Kuzma. He may be there for the rebuild, he may not. So remember, Washington is looking to divest. They're looking to get rid of players. There's still opportunity for the Bulls to run this unit back and get pieces from those other teams who are totally going in the tank mode. Now, here's a difference here. Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma right now. Well, Kyle Kuzma maybe. I don't believe those particular players are considered all-star, superstar caliber type players. 28 points a game, stuff like that. So it would make sense and even be possible to see a trade within conference with those particular players with a team that's tanking. So that I do want to sit there and say that there's a difference. I'm not going to say that universally that's law, that you don't see a player traded within conference. That's not true. But there are tiers and levels to it. And so the Wizards are one of those teams that, hey, we know that they're like, hey, free for all. I mean, they just traded Bradley Beal for a bag of peanuts, pretty much. I mean, they're not even going to, no one expects them to even keep Chris Paul. So at this point, they're just like, hey, we're salary dumping at this point. Give me whatever expiring contract you got, take whatever you got. We're going complete rebuild. So I can expect that to be the case. But I want to hear your thoughts on that as well. Do you think that there's any possibility that the Bulls grab any of those pieces over there? Who would you like them to grab if that's possible? I know this is speculation, but this is all we have until we get to the draft, and then obviously into the rest of the offseason. It's all speculation until we get it on the dotted line. So give me your thoughts. I'll be in there in the comments with you. Again, I'm not going back to the main topic. Not a fan of trading Zach LaVine. I'm not. I'm just not. I understand trying to rebuild. I understand that, but guess what? I think that we were close enough for us not to necessarily consider that. And I don't think that you sit there and blow that up for some hope for and potentials, because then that kind of puts us right back into what I would consider mid. Like, you don't want to be in that space where you're just constantly mid. We know a lot of teams that are constantly mid. They are good enough to be mentioned, but not good enough to get over the hump. And I do not want that for my Chicago Bulls. But again, I want your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, I'll be in the chat with you. Till next time.